Hi there, it's Louise here of Timeless Craft Mama, and today I'm sharing a scrapbook layout process video with you created for Scrapbook Boutique. Now this layout is using the Echo Park Petticoats and Pinstripes collection, and straight away I knew that this was going to be perfect for me because it's all boy and it's all beautiful navies and reds and yellows, and it's really just a great collection that is going to serve so well for boy pages. So the first thing I'm going to do is work on choosing some of the papers that I'm going to use, and I knew that for this particular page I wanted it to be a pretty layout as opposed to a storytelling layout. So some of the pages that I do have like a journaling and a memory keeping element to them. Other pages that I do, sometimes they're simply just pretty pages to record a really nice happy photo. So that's what this is. This is one of those pretty pages. So I've trimmed that paper and I'm going to mount it on the red cardstock. Now I also must apologise because while I was building this cluster, my video did decide to stop recording. So you have missed just a little bit of that cluster, but what you'll see coming up in the video is that I'm actually not sticking anything down at the moment. So you do see me stick down the final cluster. Sorry, bad day for words today. So once I am happy with the papers that I've got going on here, I'm sort of looking around at some of the embellishments thinking, okay, how am I going to title this? What am I going to do? Making sure that things are going to look the way I like them to. One of the best parts about using a collection of papers that all came together is that it really sort of does take some of the difficulty of the thought process out. You can get away with using lots of the pattern papers together without it being too overwhelming. So I'm going to go ahead and apply some white gesso over this paper that I've stuck down on the page, and I'm going to use my distress crayons and distress foam pad to actually apply that colour through a stencil. So this is the Craft brick stencil, and I'm just spraying that distress crayon with a little bit of water and then just spreading it around through the stencil. And I'm using the two different colours just to add a little bit of interest here. And again, the idea of this is not to be necessarily neat or perfect with it. You simply want to just get some of that colour and some of that interest and texture around on the page. In this case, we're going to cover a lot of that with the embellishments and the photo cluster, but at the same time the little pops of that sort of brown in the background with that interesting texture of the brick wall will certainly help to bring this layout together. Now I've gotten out my good old distressing tool. It hasn't had some use for a while, and I was inspired by another video that I've watched, so I've pulled out the distressing tool and I'm going to roughen some of these edges. Again, great thing for this collection is that you can get away with either using the papers in their plain form or distressing them and creating some interest in that particular way. So I finally decided how I want this cluster to look, and I'm going to set that out in the final areas and start to glue some of those pieces together. It really is fabulous paper to use, this Echo Park, and so much of it that comes in the collection pad. You really are not left with anything that you can't use, and it's very generous. So definitely this is the first time I've ever played with the Echo Park collection, and I really found it great paper to use. It stood up to the mediums, and it was certainly very high quality paper. A little bit more distressing going on here, just because when I'm looking at the layers, some of them are distressed and some of them are plain edge, so no ink or anything around them, and that's just again adding that little bit of extra interest. So I'm happy. I'm going to go ahead and stick that down crooked, which I tend to do sometimes, especially if I'm in a rush or not paying too much attention. Some of you might have seen on Instagram, there's a picture, if you follow me on Instagram, where I've taken a picture of what goes on in the background while I'm creating a process video, and it's my two twins, and they're normally at the desk, and they've either got trucks or the iPad or something noisy, which works out well because at least I can turn the volume down on the video, but it's a bit distracting. So I do apologise if sometimes what you see on the video is not always controlled, let's say. Alright, so adding some twine. Again, this is just for a little bit of background, a little bit of interest. I'm just making a circle of that and gluing that down with the hot glue gun just because it's going to work a lot quicker than tacky glue. So a little bit more twine, a little bit more interest, a couple of circles. I'm just working around where I want this particular layout to go. Now the red glittery love was actually from my stash, so I have no idea where it came from. My big thing at the moment is I'm trying to, when I create a layout, use great new products that, we all love to get new products, and we love Happy Mail, and it's always so exciting, makes you want to create when you get new products, but at the same time we end up with this huge stash. So I am trying to, every time I create a layout, use as much stash busting as I possibly can. So you'll see in this particular layout that some of it is some new products that you can, of course, pick up at Scrapbook Boutique, and some of it is stash products, which what I'll do is in the link to the products that I've used, I will actually link like products. So if you want to create this layout exactly, then I'll show you which products will get you a very similar type of result. So everything's looking good. I'm pretty happy with what's going on here. I'm going to go ahead and glue some of these flowers down. Now, I really quite liked with this collection of papers how it had that tiny little pop of yellow. So it's not one of the major colours in this collection. For me, the major colours were the navy, brown, and then the red and the yellow were the minor colours. So what I did was I just played on that a little bit. I sort of focused a lot on the browns and the navy, and just highlighted with that red and the yellow. I don't know if you've also noticed in this video, I seem to be having a really big problem with running out of adhesive. First it was my tape runner, now it's the roll of adhesive, so I'm really having a hard time at the moment. Never mind, I will carry on. So I'm going to mount this page now that I've added all the mediums. It's not too mixed media on this one. The only thing that I've added is that Distress crayon on the background through the stencil, and then just some antique silver stickles around some areas of this page, just to give it that little bit of sort of bling up, because I've used some sparkles with the title and I've got those glittery butterflies. This I just felt was going to bring some of the elements all together. So I'm just spreading that around with my finger and going back to the sticker sheet to add some of the elements that are just going to help bring this layout all together. So while I've titled it Love, I am also going to pop Master C's name down the bottom and his age. I also really liked that this particular photo, because he's wearing his hat, it sort of has that red in there as well, which matches quite well with this particular collection. Okay, a couple more stickers added to this page, and that just helps to sort of tie this layout together a little bit. There wasn't a lot of technique involved in this, but I really wanted to show you what you could do with some of the elements of this collection and with a little bit of stash busting. So as I said, for me, this layout was about creating a pretty page, not so much a memory as such. The final step I'm doing here is just popping some enamel dots around the page, and these are of course from that same collection. Now I thought about adding something a little bit extra to this layout. I had a quick play around with a few things here and there. I pulled out some of my wood veneers from my stash, just in hearts and little extra touches, just to sort of bring in that natural sort of woodsy brown feel to this particular layout. So I hope you enjoyed this from me. I'm back again, of course, a bit later next month, and we'll be showing you some more great projects. Don't forget to subscribe if you like this. Thanks for watching.